What's good? Let's get into TNA Turning Point from November the 14th, 2025. First and foremost, I apologize for not putting out a review for TNA. I actually did have one in the can, but I chose not to upload it because simply this show was not all that interesting, and the live show was not that interesting. It was newsworthy at the end because Mike Santana lost the TNA World Championship to Frankie Kazarian after Frankie cashed in on him after NXT invaded, apparently, and they beat up Mike Santana and Nic Nemeth. Then Frankie, he cashed in his collar shot, and he became the new TNA World Champion, which sucks. It's dumb. Rumor has it, there's two rumors floating around. Rumor one is that Mike Santana could be injured, possibly. We don't know. And rumor two is that maybe NXT has interest in Mike Santana. So those are two possibilities. We don't know how true both those statements are. It's just hearsay. So it is what it is. Nothing can be done about it. And before I move on with the review, Joe Hendry is no longer with TNA. He is with NXT. I figured that he was going to go to TNA. Go to NXT sometime next year, possibly as early as January. So maybe like right after the Rumble, but it didn't even happen. So I guess NXT must have swooped in and bought his contract out. So there's that. It's fine, but it is what it is. I mean, who's to say that the same thing won't happen to Mike Santana? So, but if that does happen, hopefully Mike Santana sticks around in TNA for at least a good 6 months going into 2026. So we'll have to wait and see how shit plays out. All right, let's go ahead and get into the show. I did not watch the pre-show, just didn't do it. But we will talk about that briefly. So it was a triple threat match, and Jake something won. He defeated Diener and Matt Warner, so that's cool there, good stuff. Then Frankie Kazarian, we get a speech from him. So Frankie calls himself self-made, and nobody deserves it more than he does. He says all the tears that the fans dropped, he coat his black heart. Coat his black heart and warm his soul. He says he hates them because he won't stop hating them. He calls out the NXT wrestlers. He had nothing to do with it. Saying he had nothing to do with it or messing with TNA. So, Carlos Silva is called out by Frankie. So, Frankie Kazarian asked why Carlos Silva didn't greet him to present him with the title last night. Then he tells him he can declare him champion right now. Carlos Silva says he congratulates him, but he's going to do a formal investigation with the title change from last night. So the Nemeths, they come out. Nick says that he knows that Frankie Kazarian is behind the NXT attack. Frankie says that if he had the chance, he would have cashed in too. Nick says that he's calling a shot tonight. The first team up in their match tonight. Then he'll call his shot for a match. Kaz tells him to trust the champion. So, whatever. I don't care about this garbage. Moving on from that, from the pre-show, this leads us into the first match of the night. Kelani Jordan defeats M by Elegance. The match was okay, nothing special. This could have happened on Impact, if we're being honest. And that's what this show felt like. It just felt like most of this stuff should have just happened on television. I feel like TNA needs to go back to what they used to do earlier on in Impact, when they would used to do pay-per-views on Friday. That's what they should do sometimes, is do like a pay-per-view on a Friday for them. Well, I mean, not on a Friday, but on like a Thursday for them. Do 8 matches. You know, you do 4 matches one week, then you do the other 4 the following week. And I think that would be great if they were to do some shit like that. But that's just how I feel. Moving on from that. So Gia Miller, she interviews Ryan Nemeth and some of the knockouts backstage. So Ryan Nemeth is making a ham of himself, which is hilarious. So he talks some shit to Mara Sade and everything else and all that, saying that how her hair is not wet and everything. So that was pretty funny. And saying that she's lazy, so, you know, that's hilarious as well. So Ava and Santino Marella, they're backstage arguing and everything else about what happened last night. So Ava, she's caught up for NXT, but she seems to blame TNA's locker room for what happened. So, you know, there's that. Moving on, this leads us into Brandon Does Everything BDE versus AJ Francis. I didn't care about this match at all. AJ Francis wins. He wins via the down payment. I don't give a shit about this. Apparently, TNA signed him, so whatever, that's fine. Apparently, he's a known indie guy, so that's cool there. But we'll have to see how long he stays in TNA, though. If we're being honest. If we're being honest. So, whatever. Moving on. So, Gia Miller, she interviews Steve Maclin, who has not seen Mike Santana. So Maclin is going to take on Nic Nemeth and Frankie Kazarian by himself. And he'll stack up NXT bodies if he has to. So that's fine. So I know some people have said that Steve Maclin should be the face of TNA. The answer is no. TNA never had faith in Maclin. Don't forget, he had a title reign that wasn't even 60 days. It was like 54 or 55 days, if I remember correctly. So, no. And I don't think that... And Steve Macklin's contract's supposed to be up, I think, at the end of the year, so by December. But he'll probably end up re-signing anyway. I doubt if he'll get a call back from WWE or get a call from AEW. Moving on, this leads us into Danny Luna versus Indy Hartwell in a no DQ match. Indy Hartwell wins for whatever reason, which was stupid as shit. She wins via the donut on a chair for the 1, 2, 3. Dumb. It makes no sense. Like, why is TNA still pushing Indy Hartwell? Indy Hartwell does not have it. Whatever. Moving on, this leads us into the Inspiration. They defeated Tessa Blanchard and Victoria Crawford, a.k.a. Alicia Fox, and the Angel Warriors, Zia Brookside and Xia Li, a.k.a. Lei Ling Lee for Xia Li. So, the Inspiration, they retain, which kind of makes sense. Moving on, this leads us into the Hardyz and Cedric Alexander. They defeated the Order 4, which consisted of Mustafa Ali and the Good Hands. Okay, that's fine there. Cedric got the win. That was nice. So, whatever. Moving on from that, the Razcals, they defeat the System. Wes Lee is back in TNA, which is perfectly fine with me. He got a pretty good reaction. They all did. And match was so-so. They defeated the System, who I don't care about. It sucks that JDC is going to retire at Genesis next year, but it's fine. Makes sense. Maybe he can be a producer for TNA or a manager or something. So there is that. Then Eric Young, his sorry ass shows up. He confronts Santino Marella, and he blamed Santino Marella for all the problems of TNA. No, it's not Santino Marella who's the problem with who's a part of TNA's problems. It's actually TNA itself. TNA refuses to grow. TNA is its own worst enemy. So, and I wish that Eric Young would go the fuck away too. So, Eric Young said that the cleanse is coming. I don't care about this shit at all. Like, why is Eric Young still on television? Why is he still in TNA? Move on, bro. Like, go and work for Scott DeBoer, please. Go work for Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling. Please. Moving on. Leon Slater, he defeats Rich Swann. He wins via the 450 Swanton for the 1, 2, 3. Don't really care about this at all. Didn't even watch it. I didn't watch it. Main event of the evening. So it was Steve Maclin versus Nic Nemeth and Frankie Kazarian for the first 2-3 minutes of the match. Mike Santana came out to the crowd, to security, via Santino Marella, who let him in. So his arm just taped. He ends up getting the win for his team. He ends up hitting the spin-near block for the 1, 2, 3 on to Frankie Kazarian. Frankie Kazarian tried to, get out of dodge during the match as well too. So then the NXT guys, they showed up and they beat the shit out of Mike Santana and Nic Nemeth. Then they attacked Frankie Kazarian. So then they also beat up the Hardyz and Steve Maclin. Santino Marella, he came out before all that and he started yelling at the guys. Brooks Jensen beats the shit out of Santino Marella. And then, like I said before, they all beat up Steve Maclin and the Hardyz. So it is what it is. It's fine. I guess they're doing some type of invasion, whatever. It's not really all that important. It makes no sense. This is not a good storyline, if we're being honest. Mike Santana should definitely be champion still. I don't know where this is going. The only thing I could say, it's probably going to end up being some type of match, maybe Team TNA versus Team NXT at either Final Resolution or either at NXT Deadline. So we'll have to wait and see how that shit plays out. But all in all, this show was kind of boring, pretty missable, and it really wasn't worth watching. But what did you guys think? And how do you guys feel about Mike Santana no longer being champion? Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.